Okay, so um, it is July. Just a few months have passed since the circles really started taking off. I just started really just doing what they tell me. And um, even though I had this convention coming up and things I needed to prepare for it, I just was following the circles. And it wasn't really explainable, and but it was okay. Like, there were moments of discomfort that came up, so it was like an opportunity to see what that discomfort was all about, and it just made the circle stronger, the other artwork stronger, and people respond more purely, just like it, there was no hesitation in people. When there's no hesitation in me, there's no hesitation in the people that see it. And um, so I just spent a weekend doing 3 circles to enter in this show in a gallery that I never heard of, and never would have imagined that I would be part of. And they not only accepted all 3 circles, they wanted to make sure that I was going to attend this art opening, because they just, they're the circles. There's something in there that just reaches out and circles people, and they feel it. And so I'm going to be going to Portland in July, I think it is. So in a few days. And something that I hadn't even told Scott is that just before one of our Kylegos, I had sent a a self-portrait of me to my soulmate. And he didn't know anything was coming. I hadn't talked to him for months. And initially I had done one for him, of him, but once it was there, I didn't want to send it anywhere. I wanted to keep it with me. So I made a new one and sent that to him. And it wasn't like it did the work on him. It did the work on everything else. And so the circles are just doing incredible things. Things that I couldn't even plan for, things that wouldn't have made sense a year ago. And the trust in me, it's like I am offering people in this time of just intense uncertainty and confusion, I'm offering people like my certainty of the circles is expanding to other people. And it just feels like it magically, they are able to absorb that certainty. So they can make better decisions. They can really, like, it clears out something so they can actually feel what they're feeling. So that thing that was bothering them for years, the way out of that is just, oh, right, of course. And then they just go do whatever they need to do. And then they feel what they need to feel along the way. And Scott, your certainty in the circles just only made it possible for me to really embrace it, and just to have that mirror and that response to what I'm doing was just invaluable. And just trusting that what we're doing together is that gift to people, to not end up in a suffering place out of sometimes ignorance, sometimes willfully not wanting to see that there might be another way. But so we are finding the people who were they just didn't know that it could be different. And so they're willing to try it and take a chance. And some of them are just like, well, I don't know what else to do. There's nothing, nothing left to lose. So fine. Some of them have that attitude, and some of them are like, yeah, I always felt like there was something other than what we've been taught. But it wasn't like years and years of spiritual study and that whole group. And there were some creative people in there, but what we're doing just opens the door wider and puts a sign on it so they know where the door is and that it's okay to walk through it. And there's no like, you have to do this, or you're playing too small, or your life is going to be terrible. It's just like, yeah, you can walk through and then you can walk back if you don't like it. And it just takes all of the high stakes out of it. And that makes people feel really okay with just experimenting. And that's all we're doing anyway, is experimenting. Go ahead.
So Rita has been stepping out, and she put in a set of 3 circles to this art show in Portland. And even the folks who are jurying it they were taken by it because it was something different that they hadn't seen. And even on the phone, when they called to ask if she would come, it was almost as if there weren't the real right words. Rita would tell me how it was a little bit of an awkward conversation, but I had just broke in and I said, you can't find the words, can you? And that gave her permission to say, you're right, I can't find the words, but I just want you to come to the show, to be there and to be beside them, because I feel like that people will feel that anchor. And so this was a fun experiment for Rita to put the circles out into places that she hadn't thought of, the spontaneous things that had come up, and how this could create spontaneous conversations with her and spontaneous new kinds of relationships and new kinds of opportunities for the circles to just be seen. And if they're seen, it seems like they definitely have a shift for people, whether people want to acknowledge it or whether they want to reach back and say that there was a shift, or whether they want to kind of just think about it and go home and ponder, or maybe it's in a dream that they have a shift. The circles and the meditation circles and these knowing eyes, they are having some kind of a quiet impact on the world, and she is seeing this go on. And it's just, as it keeps building, the next day she might get another phone call, or she will have someone just out of the blue email her and say, I saw this at the Portland show, and how do you make these, and what's the process? And so it's not just about selling, it's about a relationship building. Even if it's for a short amount of time, this relationship building has been so important for Rita. And how the circles come about, it's this people who actually come and seek to have that energy come into their life. And even if it's just an email exchange, it's just the email exchange and the circle. And then the value is just, it's kind of came about naturally how, people started paying $100, then $200, then $250. And how as they got into the world, their value even increased. It's almost a counterintuitive, but this is counter practice. It was a counterintuitive, like the more you have in the world, the less you will get. But as these circles expanded and grew in the world, it was like their value became higher in people's minds and in people's consciousness. And so and it's been fun for Rita to kind of play with that pricing model, and she'll just say, well, the last one was sold for this much, and then someone can say, well, oh, that surprised me, or oh, okay, and then it just the just keeps growing. And it's just like this real interesting thing about how it just creates abundance in so many different areas, about how relationships get cleared painlessly this way, um, how even like it supports the other clouds in her studio. How even she said one time that the clouds started singing when the circles saw them, and so it's been it's like an opening of a cosmic portal all around, and it's many 7 billion, like just as 7 billion lives or stars and in the universe, of how everything can just become open in its own way. So, and she's helped me to quietly just grow this, Facebook community, cosmic landing community that is still growing and morphing. And even the people who are landing into it understand that this grows and morphs and changes, and they're along for the ride. It's not like we have to force it, which is a lot of fun. And so that's small for that reason. And Rita's been, it's every time Rita's on camera, there's art in the camera, and it's great. I almost started going into my own Kylego. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not just me here.
Mm.
Gotta have somebody else along.
I know. But I got that image of like your clouds just singing.
That's great. Yeah. I
So,
love it. Cool.
All right.
Okay.
So give me, is it 8 minutes?
Yep.
All right.
There you go.
So it is July. It's been a very active month for me. Not only it's hot and it's a different time of year for me. It's summer. I've just come off of this sort of sabbatical of letting the energy kind of quiet in my business, and it's been wonderful. So things are starting to pick back up in a different way. And this group that Rita and I have started is just sort of magically growing at a steady pace. It's a sustainable pace. It feels like it's manageable. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to necessarily always market it. People are showing up on the Facebook group, and I'm showing up, and Rita's showing up, and we're able to do that. I was able to capture some really great video footage during this sabbatical of mine over the hours of video that Rita and I have. Just sometimes we explain some really good gems. We use some old stuff too about It's All Perfect that we thought was like, oh, that was like ages ago. Oh my gosh. And it felt like years ago, even though it was like only like 12 or 13 weeks ago, but people really enjoyed that. And it's almost as if I can like pick one video and just splice it, and there I can just say, Rita, what do you think of this? And I've got this up there. What do you think? And it's like, okay. And it's easy. This is like easy work. And I'm really happy for easier work in my life and quieter work in my life. And I take on fewer new projects now, and they're more rewarding, and they are more intuitive, and people understand the kind of work I do, which is amazing, because I can just don't have to worry about the other folks who are very controlling as much anymore. Even just that little shift, and I'm actually able to set my boundaries a lot faster, and let people know what I'm about before, there's an opportunity to kind of like get into this confusion zone. So people don't resonate with me, they don't have to resonate with me, and it's totally okay. Yeah, and I've been seeing how, well, I've been helping readers kind of like find new avenues and suggesting a few new avenues for these circles. Um, I'm going in October to another science fiction convention, and I'm just going to see if she wants to do that. And so, well, hopefully she's going to do that show, an art show in Iowa, in the town that I'll be moving to in October. So that will be a lot of fun. And just for me to witness how those circles affect other people who kind of mingle through art shows, because I've seen them do it year after year after year. So I'm looking forward to that. But otherwise, I feel like now it's July. The tennis tournament is coming up, and I'm a lot more relaxed about it. Still not really excited about the heat about it at all, but I'm more relaxed about it. I'm going to have fun. I'm playing doubles and singles, and I'm just going to think it's just going to be a blast in Mankato. So I'm not even worried about winning, losing, whatever. I have so much fun. Just concentrating on meeting new people and doing my thing, doing my own stuff, and knowing that, because I do my own stuff, whether it's meditation or tennis or reading or getting quiet or designing, it's just like these things that I want to invest my time in are so important that I have less time to do crazy work. And I made a decision a while back that before I did that sabbatical that I have less time to do crazy work. So I may as well use that less time to do really good work and to do the work that really feeds me as well. And by feeding me internally, it feeds me, I guess currency wise, where I can buy food and eat and feed my dog and feed my puppy and, be trusting that this universe is going to take care of me out of the work that I give it. So rather than having to artificially create it, it's really empowering, really freeing. I'm also realized that freedom is such a currency that it's not about a dollar sign. It's about a flexibility now in my life of a freedom of like that RV I'm going to buy is going to be the next thing too of this flexibility and freedom currency so that I can experience more and I can still dig deep and be involved in all the creative things that I want to do because they're so important to me and that time is worth it. And everything else will come along, because I've done that. So that's been a great turning point since this sabbatical of sorts. Just worked with current clients, didn't do anything new, told a lot of folks that I was unavailable anyway, so they kind of thought I was unavailable. But really, I was covertly doing something behind the scenes with Rita, Kylegoing, putting things on a page to see what happened, playing. So that's the way it needed to be. So, and people have really picked up on that authenticity of like, yeah, this is a draft. It's a full draft. It's playing and people like that. It's refreshing. And we've got a few new age folks who don't quite like it, but they'll either stay or go, and it's okay. I'm okay with that. So I'm not hurrying to like get a Hay House contract. So although I wouldn't mind it, it'd be fun. So but it's refreshing for the folks who like it. I've gotten closer to some of the really good mentors of mine. So Sark and Patricia Corey, just by showing up and being available and showing up on their sites and commenting and emailing. And I've really gotten close to them because they're kind of in the same vein. Closer to a few of my clients are in the same vein. And so it's everybody wins. So it's been really great. Everyone wins and everyone gets fed. And this event didn't quite happen like people say it was, but I do believe that the event has happened for us in a quiet way. There's been a quiet event over this amount of time. And we realize that we can just have this event happen and when we get quiet. We can have our mini event every day and just get quiet and shower ourselves with love and let that come through because the sun is shining and because the birds are singing and because my doggie is beside me. I don't need some external, event of this cosmic super wave that may or may not happen to throw me into an enlightened state out of my own, out of a comfort zone immediately. It's I can travel there in a dream, however, and that's as effective.
Okay.
That was different.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, I gotta go while I'm thinking of this. Okay, Scott. So many fun things. It's just been so much fun to watch. One of the things that you taught me, Scott taught me so well, was the currency of freedom. And so that I could stop thinking about numbers and dollar signs and think about what my creations how much freedom would that create in the world for the person who receives it and for me. And that's what you became really good at, helping people using that to help lead people through the door into the space where they could grow and change. So that idea of freedom and how important and how valuable that is, that's the thing that made them feel safe enough to try something new and to realize just how choked they were and how little freedom they had in following all the rules. And so it's not only been fun to watch you, Scott, but everyone else who has come along with us to just play and have fun. And that freedom also dissolves a sense of competition and ego and, all the weird things that people turn and twist themselves, twist other, there was no presenting of an image for people. When they came to us, they knew they could just be real. And that was not only great, but safe for everybody and fun. And so more and more people were moving out into the world as real. And one of the things that we decided to do in our group was to have occasional the event parties. So we put it out there for the attendees to come as if the event had happened, and we would Kylego post-event what life is like post-event. And it's just, of course, we can do that any day of the week. We can have our event and we don't need anybody else to come along. We can just we can have our event, and by us having the event, other people will want to have their own event, and their event might look like something completely different, and they might go down a different path than our event takes us. Hold on. It won't let me. Huh. Okay. So, yes, so people, so the event became a real thing. And there goes my time. Gosh. The universe, somebody doesn't want the event to happen.
Oh, I like that little train sound because it like reminded me like here comes the event like a train. You know, and we're like ignoring it and we're pushing the button. Why won't that go away? You know, it's like, what if the event came as a random ringtone on our phone that we just pushed away? Like, oh, train. That's what it kind of reminded me of, and then the timer went up, and
Yeah.
that's a great idea, actually. The post-event party. Oh my gosh! It just hit me. I was like giggling. So
Yeah.
all right, I'm gonna keep that.
It was hard for me to not interrupt you in your Kylego.
Oh, good. See, these things burst out. This is like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, thank you. That was great. And the train coming.
Yeah.
Who is calling me now? I'm talking about the event, and who's calling? So yeah. Oh, that's funny. That would be a fun little skit talking about the event when it's coming, and then like the background, it's storming and crazy, and they just can't deal with it. Like, I'm talking about the event. What's going on? Well, and then maybe Jesus comes to the door, or maybe someone else is like, can you come back later? I'm talking about the event.